The views and opinions expressed by the On the Spot with David Rodgers show are solely based on the show's hosts, guests, and viewers. We are solely responsible for all show content in its entirety and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of any sponsors in any way. These broadcasts are presented and made public by the On the Spot with David Rodgers team in the hope that it'll be entertaining and informative to our viewers and listening audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's 7 o'clock and time for On the Spot with David Rodgers. And now, here he is, Mr. Friday Night, the show pony himself, the man, the dream, the legendary David Rodgers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I am the show pony himself, David Rodgers, alongside the Byron Bagwell and the racing guru himself, Mr. Mitchell Gunner, joining us back live in the studio. Great to have you along. Sponsored by On the Spot Lawn Care. Let their red, white, and blue take care of your green. Call 904-966-1633. And by the Fantastic Fire Brigade. You can have a real fire truck come to your next event or let our Jambulance rock your party. Call 904-701-FIRE or visit Byron, fantasticfire.com.
Well, can we get them to go to D.C. and put that dumpster fire out?
Well, I don't know, man. We need more fire trucks than that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a fact, Jack. Let's get the show started as we always do with our prayer, our pledge, and our patriotic quote of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, let us bow our heads. Our righteous Heavenly Father, let us once thank again for a wonderful and glorious day you've given us, dear Lord. Thank you for this time with this brotherhood that we have, dear Lord, and bringing our audience this show, and hopefully the information that we are able to give out, that it goes to our viewers, and let them determine what they need to do with it, dear Lord. Thank you for letting us live in the greatest country in the world today, the United States of America, the most freest and most powerful nation in the country and the world today, dear Lord. I know we have some issues, dear Lord, that we need to fix and work on. But with your healing hand and your healing power, you can make this happen for us, dear Lord. All we've got to do is to believe in you. Thank you for our armed forces, each and every one of those men and women that are giving the ultimate sacrifice each and every day to protect our democracy, to protect our freedoms, and to protect our rights for not only domestic terrorism, dear Lord, but international terrorism and everything else that is complicating our world today. How about the people that have given their lives, dear Lord, the ultimate sacrifice, all those men and women as well. Thank you for the food that we receive each and every day. And it goes to the nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Thank you for all our first responders, each and every one of those men and women that do the diligent work each and every day, that's protecting us each and every day from whatever it is, dear Lord, that we can all sleep safely at night, be sound, be comfortable, knowing that our first responders are always there and have our back. Any spoken or unspoken prayer request tonight, dear Lord, that you hit each and touch each and every one of them. You're the ultimate healer, the ultimate comforter, dear Lord. You can take that pain away. Also, prayers, special prayers, dear Lord, for that massive incident that happened in our great state of Texas today, dear Lord, as there was a bad shooting, and that these young men and women and their parents and their family get over this tragedy, dear Lord. This is happening each and every day and more frequently. We need this to stop, dear Lord. We need to turn back to you so you can put your hand on this great country and every individual here, dear Lord, so these attacks and these incidents won't happen. Everybody that's in the hospital from this, dear Lord, that you just help them recover fully. And this will never always be the same with them, dear Lord. But if you can just give them some kind of comfort, that would be awesome as well. Again, thank you for a great day, a great week that we're about to have, and a great show. And also for our guests that we have tonight, dear Lord. We ask for these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. And the congregation says,
Amen.
Amen. Let us stand, please, for our pledge. And I'm going to ask you, Mr. Bagwell, to lead us in our pledge, please.
I most certainly will.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I am your host, David Rodgers. To my left, back from a little bit of a hiatus, is the Byron Bagwell, and my gosh, we'll talk about this later.
Here we go with the,
yeah.
We're going to go to the man bun
Well,
thing.
we may have a picture of you later.
And everybody in Scotland is going, that's not a man bun.
No, but that kilt that you got on tonight is pretty cool. And the Mitchell Gunner, if you don't know where Mr. Mitchell Gunner has been, here the last several shows, he's been missing. But not really, because he does On the Spot Motorsports with David Rodgers, which has become a big hit with not only people locally, Mitchell, but people all around this great nation is following your show. And they are sharing the mess out of it. And you're up to almost 1,000 viewers right now, followers, right, of the show.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell just real quick, so we can move on, a couple of the guests that you've had during doing the show, as you are the host of that show.
Yeah, kicking it off, it's just me and you in the beginning,
Yep.
and also Amy Cohn. But
Yep.
since then, we've had Erica Anders, Christian Quadra. We've had Camry Caruso, Jim Yates, Steve Johnson.
Yep.
We've also had my nephew Brody Gunter on with a bunch of his teammates that run race for Kyle Beatty Racing,
Right.
Legends cars. And then this Wednesday night, we're going to have a good friend of mine, Chris Parisi,
Right.
joining us, and we're going to talk about NMRA. It's the National Mustang Racing Association.
Association.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about that in the class that he runs. And he's got quite a few championships running NMRA.
Sounds great. Sounds like a great show tomorrow night. We'll get in more a little bit
Sure
about
will.
that. Patriotic quote of the night, Mr. B. I've got two of them. Two short ones. By the way, we have a special guest tonight. If you haven't been following On the Spot with David Rodgers, we have a special guest tonight, a guy that's going to be running against incumbent Kamek. His name is Manuel Ascencio. He is in studio tonight. He will be here and joining us live here in just a few minutes to tell a little bit about himself, what he's got planned up, what his candidacy is all about. You will see him here in just a few minutes. What you got, B?
Without freedom of thought, there can be no such thing as wisdom, and no such thing as public liberty without freedom of speech.
That's got to be somebody early. That's a founding father.
It's a founding thought.
I'm going to say George Washington. I'm just taking a stab. Manuel?
George Washington wasn't the most informed of the founding fathers.
Right.
So many of them spoke.
Eloquently.
A guess. Just a guess. Without going too much. Guess. Just a guess.
Hamilton.
Okay, so we got
Hamilton,
Washington and Hamilton.
That's a good
All right.
guess.
You
I
like-
was thinking Jefferson.
Are you going Jefferson? So we got three.
Well, Jefferson's a great guess because
It's Jefferson.
I love Jefferson.
Yeah,
I know
and and that's why I was going to say that, but something just tells me this is Washington.
Could I repeat that, or could
Sure.
Sure. Okay, he wants to repeat it. You guys can play it off as well.
Without freedom of thought, there can be no such thing as wisdom, and no such thing as public liberty without freedom of speech.
It's got to be Washington or Jefferson. I'm going Washington.
magnificent quote. Huh?
Y'all are
Yeah.
wrong. You're all wrong.
Oh, we're all wrong. Okay,
It's definitely Adams.
it's definitely Adams.
This came from someone who is a big thinker and dreamer.
Mitchell Gunner.
No,
Benjamin
Franklin.
I knew. We all got guesses. Somebody's right on this table.
Yes, sir. That's a good one.
Who's right on this table, B?
And Mitchell is right tonight.
Very good.
Benjamin Franklin.
Excellent.
All right. That's good.
Of course, he may have seen that post too.
I didn't think about that.
In case you don't know, most of my quotes that I use on the show, I actually post up the week before or the day before, one of the two. I didn't do that this time.
Right. You usually do, and I was like, okay, I've got two quick ones, two short ones.
Benjamin,
Those
that's in my mind.
those who own the country ought to govern it. Those who own the country ought to govern it.
I want to say
Uh-huh.
he's a founding father, but he was not part of our government.
Okay,
I
right.
want to say this is Thomas Paine.
Nice guess. No guess? Dave? You're going to go two for two
Paul
tonight?
Revere.
I like that.
I want to say Aaron Burr.
Aaron Burr!
All right, Aaron Burr. Not a bad guess.
Aaron Burr.
I'm going with Byron.
You're going
Yeah, I
Byron?
believe it is Paine.
You believe it is
Because that'd
Paine?
be something that he would say, and what he's saying is that the people
Right.
is the government, basically.
Well, that's a great guess by you two guys, but Byron's going to kick. Oh, you want to? Okay.
I want to change my.
Okay.
I know
Go
who it
with
is
these
now.
two.
You're going to go with these two? Well, you shouldn't go with those two, even though it was a great guess, because it's one of Byron's favorite guys, and that's Mr. John Jay.
Oh, it was John Jay.
Yes,
Okay.
it was.
Okay.
All right, one more quick one, and then we're going to move on. Those who stand for nothing fall for everything.
I'm out of this one.
I know you know this one.
I'm out of this one.
Don't embarrass me, don't embarrass me.
All right, you just take a guess. It is a founding father.
I can't even come up with a name.
Okay, Dave.
I pass.
All right, Mike.
That sounds like a Ben Franklin quote to me.
Okay. Look at guess.
Jefferson.
Ooh, nice. Byron, you want to tell him? Alexander Hamilton.
Oh, gee, you should have jumped in the middle.
You should have jumped in the middle of that
Okay,
one.
now these quotes are great, and I'm fixing to stump everybody with this one in this
Okay.
show.
All right, here we go.
Socialism in general has a record of failure so blatant that only an intellectual could ignore it or evade it.
Fine.
Rush Limbaugh.
Nope.
Yeah.
This guy
Sounded
is a constitutional scholar and lawyer.
Mark Levin.
Mark, I was going
No.
No? Oh,
He's
okay.
also a college professor.
Okay.
And he's also somebody that I brought quotes up before from, who nobody has a clue about who this guy is, and they really should. He's a black guy by the name of Thomas Sowell.
So,
yes.
yeah, Mr. Soul. Mr.
If
Sowell.
you want an education on constitutionality and what's going on in this world right now, pull him up on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can watch it for hours. The guy is just a genius.
All right. Great job tonight, guys. Great quotes, great guesses. All right. Hey, don't go anywhere, because here comes the roundtable right after this commercial break.
Hey Tornado fans, this is Kurt Miracle of Miracle Automotive and Towing, proud sponsors of Tornado Football. I want to welcome you to beautiful Star, Florida at David Hurst Stadium, and thank you for letting us be a part of this community. We're here for more than your automotive and towing needs. We're here to be part of Tornado Country. Go Big Red!
This is the OTS Roundtable. We go around the region or around the table with the latest news and notes. Brought to you by Harry Business in the Deerfoot Plaza, home of the $10 haircut. Call Dave and Company at 904-964-3338. Dave, new hours, closed just on Sundays now, correct?
Correct. 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday.
Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5, closed on Sundays, so make sure you get by there and see Dave and Company for your great haircut. We begin with the huge community turnout for a fallen soldier yesterday. Staff Sergeant Seth Plant's procession departed from Jacksonville through Stark and back to St. Augustine, delivered Seth to his final resting place. Seth was killed on May 10th when he was mauled by a brown bear while working in a training area in Anchorage, Alaska. The hearse and the family traveled through Stark as part of the nearly 4-hour procession where Seth spent the first 10 years of his life before his family moved to St. Augustine. Dozens of people turned out along Temple Avenue and Call Street. Several hundred lined roads in Bradford, Clay, and St. Johns counties. We head down to Marion County, where fire destroyed a house in Ocala this morning around 5 a.m. Firefighters had flames coming through the roof when they arrived, but had the fire under control within 20 minutes. There were no injuries, and the fire is still under further investigation. The city of Keystone Heights sponsored its first Meet Your Neighbor Day at Keystone's theme park behind City Hall last Saturday, with a number of community groups and businesses getting together to discuss topics ranging from new commercial development to the anticipated water levels of the lakes in the region. Over to Levy County, where a boil water alert has been issued for the town of Bronson. Town officials say that a water main break at Galloway and West Main Street has been repaired, but residents should bring water to a roiling boil for 1 minute as a precaution for the next several days. Walmart, partnering with Drone Up, will be bringing drone delivery to Florida by the end of this year to Orlando and Tampa. The drones will be delivering between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and can get to the customer, Byron, in as little as 30 minutes. Packages up to 10 pounds can be delivered for $4.
How about baby formula? Can they deliver baby formula?
Yeah, sure they can, up to 10 pounds.
Oh,
Sure.
they have it.
Well, if you look in Canada and Mexico, they got plenty of it on the shelf, but we'll talk about that later. A woman from Lake City has claimed a $1 million prize from the 500 times the cash scratch-off game. Chevette Underwood purchased her winning ticket from the other store, which is located at 3221 West US Highway 90 in Lake City. Tell you a little story about that. Y'all all know I work in Lake City. Go by this daggum store each and every day. Sometimes I stop. And what if I'd have been the one to just purchase that ticket?
Yeah.
Know what? No cojones, no chance of winning. So, hey, there you go.
You don't play, you don't.
Don't play, that's it. Finally, 2 recalls to tell you about. The first is Yamaha recalling Wolverine Rmax off-road side-by-side vehicles due to a damaged fuel tank causing fuel to leak. That could cause a fire, ladies and gentlemen. Consumers should immediately stop using them and contact an authorized Yamaha dealer there, Manuel, to schedule a free repair. Secondly, Best Buy recalls Insignia air fryers and air fryer ovens that can overheat, posing fire and burn hazards. Do not return, ladies and gentlemen, the recalled air fryers and air fryer ovens to a Best Buy retail store for a refund. Right? Do not, right, Michael?
Do not return them.
The consumer will receive a refund in the form of a credit for use at Best Buy stores or bestbuy.com. All right. Here we go, guys. Hey, that was some great news, some great things going on, some sad things going on. But hey, we're going to move on because something that's very important to us three and maybe a couple of people here is our weather. So over for our weather to our main man, our director, Mr. Michael Heater.
This weather report brought to you by Austin's Weather Service out of Keystone Heights. Find Austin's Weather Service on Facebook and have a detailed local forecast sent right to you.
And good evening, everybody. We've got some breaking news in the weather department to let you know about. It has everything to do with dust. Yes, indeed. The Sahara Desert is making its summertime return to the area, and that is affecting our pollen. So I'm going to show you some pollen graphics that are completely skewed because it just doesn't make sense. Take a look at these pollen numbers, and I'll show you what we're talking about. The numbers here show what is a decent level for pollen. I mean, you're talking about 3.3, 4.7 as we head towards the middle of the week and then on around like that one. But you know what? Here's a news flash for you. The dust in the system, it's fading onto the screen. You can see it as it's going on. This allows us to be able to get the dust. It's going to get even worse as we move through the next few days. That, of course, is what's giving us the even more information because the temperatures are going to top out in the upper 80s to lower 90s, looking for a midweek dry spell that's going to fade by Thursday. Friday, we're looking at some isolated storms that's coming into the area. We're looking at a good possibility that the front that's moving through is going to give us a little bit of rain, and I think we're going to see some dry conditions as we head through the Memorial Day weekend. The rain, though, for tomorrow, you can see it past Gula all the way up to Nashville. You guys are the ones that's going to get a little bit of rain. For us locally, for the next 3 days, seasonal temperatures and chance of rain Wednesday, but more so on Friday before we get that break moving through the weekend. Highs around 90 degrees, give or take. A little bit cooler on Friday because that frontal boundary is going to move through. Lows in the 70s, dropping off into the upper 60s. Friday, Saturday is probably going to be your best days as far as the cooler temperatures go because it's going to start rebounding again for Memorial Day. The last thing to be aware of the fact is that we are less than 15 days away from the beginning of the Atlantic hurricane season.
We're expecting an above-average season this year. And the National Weather Service, teaming up with the National Hurricane Center, are wanting everyone to be aware of the fact that the tax break holiday is starting to take effect. It will run through June the 10th. Happens to be a very good day in my opinion, but that's another story for another time. That will allow you to be able to purchase hurricane supplies and get yourself ready. That includes batteries and even generators, certain things that you can buy tax-free thanks to the state of Florida. That will commence next week, running through June the 10th. That is the latest from Austin's Weather Service. David,
This weather report brought to you by
All right,
Austin's
Michael.
Weather Service out of Keystone Heights. Find Austin's Weather Service on Facebook and have a detailed local forecast.
All right, here we go. Oh, man, that little power glitch got me there just for a second. Michael, thank you for that great weather report. We'll have it back there toward the end of the night as well. Absolutely. Somebody had asked me a quick little question. How many storms, you said above average, how many storms are expected in a number-wise? Do you know that?
Yeah, so basically it all, and believe it or not, the dust that we talked about in the pollen report is going to have a significant impact on the storm's development depending on how much dust we get through the season.
Right.
I will tell you that from personal experience, we're looking at an above average season. I would not be surprised to see 18 named storms and a possibility of 10 hurricanes forming this season.
Wow.
Here's the kicker, though. It doesn't matter how many storms we have.
Right.
Let me take you back to August of 1992.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of the slowest seasons in modern history. There was only 5 or 6 named hurricanes that year, and August was the latest that a named storm formed. Unfortunately,
All 5.
Yeah.
it was a Cat 5 hurricane that hit South Florida. So you just be aware of the fact that that is exactly right. Hurricane Andrew making landfall in August of 1992. So it does not matter how many storms there is. It doesn't matter the frequency or the intensity. It has everything to do with the plotting. It has everything to do with the tracking. We have no control over it. The best thing to do is get prepared for hurricane season now. Have a plan. Make sure you get your disaster supplies ready. For inland areas like that, here's an interesting tidbit most people don't know. Did you know that Bradford County has never been hit by a hurricane?
Is that right?
It is absolutely meteorologically true. Hurricanes hit the coast. They weaken to tropical storm or depressions by the time they get to Bradford County. But we still get significant flooding like we saw with Irma. So you need to be prepared. Just because we may not have hurricane force winds doesn't mean that we can't see disaster.
And that's very, very odd, Mike, because, you know, Florida being the thin peninsula right here and where we're at, it's a wonder, like some of these Cat 2s, Cat 3s, Cat 4s that's come across there that we're a little bit inland, but I thought at least a Category 1.
Generally speaking, based on the number of miles from the coast, any storm that strikes the coast will drop by 2 categories by the time it gets into central Florida, in the central part of the state. So if you have a Cat 4 hurricane, it'll be a weak Cat 2 by the time it reaches Bradford County, Clay County, Putnam, that thing. We've never had it. All Cat 5 hurricanes that have hit us have been over South Florida and have moved off the coast, off into the Gulf, or they've hit up there where Hurricane Dora hit in Jacksonville and curved up. We've never had hurricane itself move over Bradford County in the history of hurricane.
About the eye.
Yeah, the
He's
eye
talking
itself.
about
the eye itself.
You may get some hurricane gusts.
Gusts, right?
But even like that, but Irma is a great example. It was a weak tropical storm by the time it made landfall closer to or made over Bradford County.
Right.
But the flooding is what really did.
Right, yes.
And that's the area of concern we need to be aware of.
Basically stalled out over the state. Yeah.
Thank you for that weather report, Mike. I really appreciate that. We'll have it back, ladies and gentlemen, there toward the end of the show. I do want to tell you right now, just a quick thing. We're getting ready to bring on a special guest that we have tonight. Met him about a month and a half ago, and he is running against our current congressional representative right now, Ms. Kat Kemick. His name is Manuel Ascencio. So if you want to share this video right now or bring some people on that want to hear about his candidacy, things that he's wanting to do, why he's running, please, this is your chance now before he comes on for you to get on and get your people on so you have a chance as well to ask questions. But we will be interviewing Manuel Ascencio here in about 10 minutes or so. Trivia on Wednesday nights with Michael Heater at Fun Point. Still, kickoff time is 7 o'clock. He's got all kinds of good things going on over there. What's the date? Musical categories, things like that. I know we talked a little bit last week, Michael. We're probably going to slow down because of the summer. It just happens. It's going to happen that way. People go on vacations. People do different things. People go on day trips and don't make it back. But we're still going to do it anyway.
Sure.
So Wednesday nights with him, Thursday nights with me at 7:30. I do have And the Answer Is. Tonight, And the Answer Is, Dave. Look at that, Byron. What does that say?
It says Maverick.
Maverick. Why would it say Maverick?
I don't know.
Mike, why would it say Maverick?
It's one of my favorite old-time movies. And one of my not-so-old movies.
There you go.
That 1 mile surfer guy.
Uh-huh. The 1 mile, you like him?
Yeah, the Mavericks.
Yeah, the Maverick. Yeah. How about that movie Top Gun, like Michael was saying?
Pattern is full.
The pattern is full.
Yeah.
The Dallas.
That's right. Yes.
Dallas Mavericks.
Dallas Mavericks. It could be anything. So make sure you join me and Michael Wednesday and Thursday nights at our respective places. And, of course, come and enjoy food at Fun Point and drinks at Fun Point, and enjoy Michael and come enjoy food and beverages at the Downtown Grill and hang out with us as well. And now, Manuel, this is everyone's favorite segment that brings back a little history. Brought to you by our great media partners, WEAG Eagle Country 106.3 FM, Chuck and Mary Kramer and Lynn Bellis, who me and Mr. Bagwell work for on Friday nights now, because we are calling the Bradford Tornado football games. Byron, in his first season as my color analyst, I've been doing it for 7 years now. This is my 7th year. So tune in for Bradford Tornado football games at the Bradford County Telegraph. John Miller, John Ron Tillman, Mark Crawford, and of course Cliff Smelly. Here's what's the date. These are the headlines from the Bradford Telegraph in the 3rd week of May. In what year? Couple gets 4 years for death of toddler. Man brandished gun in Alachua arrested in Stark. Commission takes up public comment rules. Really? Was that May of 2017, May of 2018, or May of 2019? Couple gets 4 years for death of toddler. Man brandished gun in Alachua arrested in Stark. Commission takes up public comment rules. Was that the 3rd week of May in 2017, 3rd week of May in 2018, or the 3rd week of May in 2019? I'm going to give you some hints. I'll read the first one. You read the second one, Mitchell, and you catch the third one, B. Sure. Judge William E. Davis sentenced Thomas Marvin Howard to 4 years in prison after the 36-year-old pleaded guilty to aggravated manslaughter of a child. The toddler died from an overdose when he apparently ingested a morphine pill found on the floor of those people's home.
The Florida Highway Patrol arrested a man in Stark after an alleged episode of road rage that occurred in Alachua a short time earlier.
Wow.
Following confusion at a prior meeting, Bradford County Commissioners clarified their public comment policy, saying the public comment standards would be set forth for future meetings.
All right. So we gave you a little bit of a hint there, so we'll go back and give you the topics. Couple gets 4 years for death of toddler. Man brandished gun in Alachua arrested in Stark. And commission takes up public comment rules. Was that the 3rd week of May in 2017, 3rd week of May of 2018, or the 3rd week of May of 2019? There it is, coming across our ticker on the bottom. This will give you a chance, ladies and gentlemen, to play at home, all of our viewers. If you get that answer right, Michael, what happens? Well, Johnny!
Here we go. You end up with getting your name thrown into a drawing at the end of the month, and then at the first show of the new month, we will draw a name out of the old fire helmet. The winner gets a $25 gift certificate to the Downtown Grill.
There you go. So, hey, and guess what, Michael? I think I brought the wrong bag. But guess whose gift certificate I've got still in my bag that I forgot to give to you? Our last month's winner. You know who that was?
Oh, that's right.
Mr. Theus. David Theus. David Theus. I've got your card. We will get it to you, brother. If you want to come up on Thursday night to the Downtown Grill, if you're just riding by, I'll definitely give that to you. But here's your chance to play, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to go over some comments here real quick because, Mitchell, we've got Manuel Ascencio coming on. He is running against Kat Kamek with another person as well for a District 3 seat. What do you think about that?
Well, I think everybody ought to have the opportunity to run if they want to run.
And that's what he told me as well. He's got some issues that has really hit him in his heart, and he feels like he needs to run. And we'll find out what those ideas and what's making him tick and what's flowing in his heart. And we'll find that out here in just a few minutes. But let's go over some comments there, B. You want to read a few of them off there? I'll let you read a few of them. How about that?
Let's see. Will Smith says, Aaron Tippin's daddy said that, talking about.
Yes, stand for something. That's right.
Hello, Renee Stegall Shaw.
Oh, from Pascagoula, Mississippi. Man, one of my classmates.
Yeah.
She wants to meet you guys in person, by the way. So, David, Michael, we need to plan up to do a show over there.
We can do that.
We can go on the road and we can do a show over there, man. We got it going on. Let me hit a couple here, B. I've got Greg Roll. You know Gail Allen? Mm-hmm. We got her. Benny Jackson. Kim Whitmore Nichols is watching. Ralph Bratton is watching. Will Smith says, hello, gentlemen. Is that the Will Smith on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
No.
Oh, not the same guy?
No.
We seen Will Smith the other night.
He's the fresh preacher.
He's the fresh preacher. Keystone. Yeah.
I don't think he would slap Chris Rock.
You don't think he would?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. You know why? Because Will Smith is a gentleman. I will.
The difference there is that Will Smith is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or the Fresh Prince on, whatever.
Yeah.
Fresh Prince.
Well,
but that Will Smith is the fresh preacher of Keystone, and he wouldn't hit Chris Rock. He just preaches about The Rock.
About The Rock, and that's right. And I'm gonna tell you something. You don't want this Will Smith slapping you anyway. This guy, I think he would put a smacking on you if he's gonna smack you. This guy's a pretty big guy.
You would have the fingerprints on the other side.
On the other side of your face. Samantha Cook is watching. Miss Shirley Bagwell. Hey, Mom, how you doing?
Hey, Mom.
That's Byron's mother, beautiful mother. She brought a beautiful cake that we were supposed to get last week, but we didn't have a show last week. We're going to enjoy that cake, Mom. It's a strawberry shortcake, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's not.
No, what is it?
It's a strawberry cake.
It's a strawberry cake.
Yeah, it's a strawberry cake.
Strawberry cake. All right. Sharon Pettiprin, the model, Dave. The model, Sharon Pettiprin. She says, good evening, gentlemen. Tammy Testone says, thanks, everyone, for your prayer. Oh, by the way, let's just do it. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Albie! She says, he is, thanks for the prayers. Albie is home watching us tonight, and he's got a big smile on his face.
All right.
That's what we're talking about.
That's because I'm on here tonight.
Oh, good grief. It sure is. Well, you haven't seen him in a while, have you, Albie? Who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, we're fixing to bring a handsome guy on right here, man. Hey, you talking about looks. This guy's got the looks, man.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, hey. Yeah, hey, you know what? Telly Savalas was a beautiful man, too, wasn't he?
No.
All right, next. We got breaking news. Breaking news here, ladies and gentlemen. President Joe Biden has ordered all flags across the country to half-staff due to the shooting in Texas this afternoon.
Well, you got a moment of clarity.
Yes, sir. How about that, huh?
Yeah, we're getting updates. We're getting updates from the Texas Department of Public Safety.
Yep.
We'll have the latest on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right.
14 or 15.
14 right now, Michael.
14 children, 1 adult, 2 children injured, 1 bystander also grazed by a bullet. The shooter was pronounced dead.
Good.
Whether it was through law enforcement or his own actions, we're still trying to confirm that. We'll get the latest on a press conference that's going on now, and as soon as we get those updates, we will share them immediately.
Sounds great.
Also, the suspect's grandmother.
Yeah, and I think she knew something, and that's why he shot her. I think she was going to call the authorities, and he was like, she's not going to ruin my plans, and he just shot her. That right there tells me, brother, that is evil. That's just pure evil. All right, here we go. Roy Jackson's on. Roy Jackson, multiple winner of our What's the Date? Edwin Pettiprin, the husband of the model Sharon Pettiprin. Ty Jordan's on. Hey, Shirley Bagwell says, good evening. Kenneth Crawford's on. John Prosow's on. Will Smith, yep, you're right. Renee Stegall Shaw says she made it, but she's a little bit late. Will Smith, you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. I have clipped many of Mr. Sowell's articles from the Wall Street Journal. Yes, you have. Austin Stevens is on. Gave us the great weather report from Michael to do. Thank you, Austin. And thank you for what you do on YouTube for us.
Yeah, and he just graduated.
Graduated with honors. Hey, let me add this.
Honors.
They forgot to state this at his graduation, but let me tell everybody right now, our Austin Stevens, who takes care of the weather, helps Michael out, and also does our YouTube, that gentleman, they forgot to say it, but he graduated with honors. Wow. With, I think, high honors, by the way. So we'll just call it honors for now to make sure, but he graduated with honors. That's our Austin Stevens, right? Absolutely. The kid is legally blind. He wouldn't mind me saying that, and he does an amazing job helping us out. So, Austin, we all love you, brother.
Amen, little brother.
Let's see. Irma was a Category 2 hurricane with 80-mile-per-hour winds when it went over Bradford County. Okay. Congratulations, Michael. You just cursed your community to get one this year. How about that, Michael? Congratulations to you.
It's okay. I happen to know an emergency manager and future commissioner that's ready for it.
Okay. Ding, 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 ding. Did I hear something there? Trent Bryant song. Oh, Renee Stigall. Yeah, he really does need to be quiet. Was quoting an HC stats based on observation when his movie. Okay, yeah. Billy Jackson's on. Jim Bowers. I work with him over in Lake City. Susan Cunningham. Hi, David. Year 2019. She says. So, Susan, Michael, 2019. Give her that.
Got it.
Randy Scoggins is watching. Roy Jackson says, give me 2018. Tammy Testone says, give me 2019. Okay. Kenneth Crawford, we want to thank you guys for last week. We were able to help feed and clothe over 140 people over the weekend. Can't wait to come in and thank you guys personally. That was, this ain't your mama's church. So he was on with us. Hey, no problem, Kenneth. That's what we do here on the Spot with David Rodgers. This beautiful team that we have, we try to get you out there, and thank goodness it was a great success. Well, now that I'm free from schooling, we can all go on the road. Austin says he wants to go on the road. Well, we'll take you. All right, Robert McGee says, good evening, brothers. Thanks for all that you do. We thank you too, Robert, by the way. Thank you for joining us. Austin says, Shirley, I think she says, I've had too much cake now. Yeah.
There's no such thing as too much cake.
I would have slapped the Bel Air out of Will's lungs. That's a good one. That's Mr. Robert McGee, by the way. Bobby Gibson from Birmingham, Alabama. Biggest Alabama fan that you'll ever see. Roll Tide. Right out the building. No. Southern Strawberry Shortcake, Miss Shorty wanted. Yes, Southern Strawberry Shortcake now. Hey, Manuel, we had to get that correct.
Southern Strawberry Cake.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You keep on saying shortcake. I don't think there's...
Well, it could be short because it's going to be shortly gone.
Okay, yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, it's going to be shortly gone. I can assure you of that.
Very true.
Kenneth Crawford says, congrats, Austin. McGee says 2019.
Okay, got it.
Much appreciated. And Austin, no, okay. So we got those guesses right now. Anybody else? You better get your guess in here real quick because we want to move on. So, Byron, I'm going to let you take a stab at it.
2019.
Manuel, what do you say? Our guess, future guess is coming on. 17, 18, just be a guess.
19.
19, you say. David?
That's a good guess.
Okay.
I'm going to go with 18.
You're going 18. Michael? Can't answer it. Mitchell?
It's 2018.
It's 2018? You're pretty certain?
Yep.
You're pretty certain. You know, I'm pretty certain too. I'm going 18. What'd you say?
19.
You said 19? All right.
I don't remember it.
Kenneth Crawford. Oh, wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. Mr. Kenneth Crawford, 22. We need to put that as one of that. He said 19. He changed it. Miss Shirley Bagwell said 19. Austin Stevens says 19.
Okay. Oh.
All right. So here we go. We're rolling by.
You gotta give it to the motorman.
Hey! How about that? What gave it away for you? Did anything, or was that just a guess?
The kid overdosing.
That's what gave it away for me too. Was the kid? I didn't really know about the other two, but 2018 was the answer. So,
and also, COVID started hitting somewhere there in 19. So.
Yeah.
But
so 2018.
Somewhere there.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, somewhere in there. So Roy Jackson. Is he the only one that said 2018?
Could be.
think Roy was the only one.
Oh my gosh, Roy, you are in a perfect position to win that $25 gift certificate from the Downtown Grill. Oh man, it was a shot in the dark for me. I was actually distracted. Don't tell us what you were distracted with.
Oh, I know. Hey,
I already know. Easy. All right. Thank you for all of you for joining us tonight. We're going to be right back after this commercial break.
I have spent nearly 40 years serving my community, and I've learned firsthand that we are not defined by the issues we face, but in how we work as a team to solve problems. People who run for office and truly care about the community do not run to make a paycheck. They run to make a difference.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I am your host, David Rodgers, the equalizer and the show pony. You are the Byron Bagwell, better known as
The high priest of the Church of the Painful Truth.
You got that right. We're all the high priest, the new high priest.
The new high priest.
The new high priest of the Church of the Painful Truth. And here he is, Mr. Automotive himself, Mr. Racer, 5th in points right now, should be in 4th with points. Got beat just a little bit, didn't you? You got just a tad.
Yep, me and the other gentleman, we both broke out. I was 5 under, he was 3 under his dial, and by 2,000 of a second, that was the difference.
You could have got an extra 10 points.
That's right.
Yeah, but that's okay because hey, he does a hell of a job hosting a show called On the Spot Motorsports with David Rodgers. That airs tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. He's got a special guest. Also, want to tell you, we were going to be doing the Bradford Tornado Spring Football game this Friday night. Game time 6:30, right? I say Mike, right? Game time 6:30. We're going to be doing that live off of one of our pages. Whether it's your page, Mitchell, or the regular page, we're trying to work that out. We're going to be doing that. Are you going to try to join us as well?
I'm going to try.
You may be a little bit later on.
Fridays are one of those.
So we're going to have me and Mitchell up there, and then if Michael doesn't have a particular thing he needs to do, we're going to try the reporting down on the field. Like Michael will go around to ask the coach, hey, coach, what do you think about this play? What do you think about that player? We haven't done that in a while. Dave's going to be up there trying to help us out and doing some things, getting some great video work. So we will be hosting and doing that Bradford Tornado football game. No radio. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, right here. You hear it on the spot with David Rodgers, first and foremost.
David and guys, Governor Greg Abbott from Texas has given a press conference. He is saying that Salvador Rmax, age 18, has killed 18 school children and 2 adults in a shooting that occurred in the town of Uvalde, which is located 80 miles southwest of San Antonio, Texas, this afternoon. The suspect is dead, as is a member of his family who believes, as Byron indicated to, may have known about what was happening and was therefore taken out as a result of that. The Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas Rangers have been ordered to provide additional law enforcement support. They are there reporting to the police chief and the sheriff of the surrounding county. They are anticipating a massive law enforcement presence for the next several hours. The president, Joe Biden, is expected to speak in less than 10 minutes. He's going to go He's going to do a national press conference speech about this as well. He's expected to speak at 8 p.m. And the additional information that's coming in indicates that there were other injuries. We don't know to the extent. We don't know if it was a crushing injury from people trying to escape or if it was from gunshot wounds. We're still getting that one. But we can tell you that the suspect, Salvador Rmax, age 18, has been identified. He has been killed along with the 20 total victims of today's incident.
Jeez, man, I tell you, this is it's an unfortunate incident, and when Manuel comes on, we'll talk about these kind of things here. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I want to welcome in here, after we go to this commercial break, our guest, Byron and Mitchell. He is Manuel Ascencio, congressional rep. He's running for his candidacy here for District 3 seat. So we're going to come back and meet him right after this commercial break.
Brought to you by Fun Point Food and Arcade, 1100 South Walnut Street in beautiful Stark, Florida. Fun Point is an all-in-one arcade and restaurant that is bound to raise your spirits, sure to please your taste buds, and the games will keep you entertained for hours. Fun Point Food and Arcade, 1100 South Walnut Street in Stark. Feel free to give them a call at 904-966-3380. Make a point to visit Fun Point.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I'm your host, David Rodgers, right along with the Byron Bagwell. As you see, the Mitchell Gunner has disappeared again, probably disappeared to his show, but that's okay. That's tomorrow night. Actually, Mr. Mitchell Gunner's over here to our left. He's going to be helping us with this interview. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome the man himself, Mr. Manuel Ascencio. Manuel, welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers.
Yes, sir.
We started this.
A lot of fun. What a
I see
voice.
you laughing. So that's what everybody says.
Unbelievable.
But anyway, we started this off last week, Manuel, and we had you on the phone. We started talking about some things, so we really didn't get into a lot of it because of some of the technical difficulties we had. I want to apologize about that, and to our viewing audience that, it just happens that way. We can't control the internet, just like we can't control Mother Nature, so things like that happen. But again, I want to thank you for coming on last week, and I want to thank you for coming on this week. So I want to start off. Tell our viewing audience about yourself. I know you did that last week. I want you to go into a little bit in depth of, who is Manuel Ascencio to our viewing audience and to, of course, people that's going to be voting in this year's election.
Well, I was born in 1954, so that makes me 67. I'm living my 68th year now. Half into it because I was born on December 30th.
Right.
That's important. And I was born in Cuba. So I left Cuba on May 15th, 1961, which was 2 weeks after the Bay of Pigs.
Right.
And I left on a boat. And my aunt and uncle adopted me. And they had passage and they had the papers to be able to get out. And that's how I got out. And we had a boat. It was a merchant ship where we found some space. So I can tell you all about that. That's an exciting part of my life. I'm 6 years old and
Right.
So there's no doubt that I am a Cuban refugee that fled communism. And that's marked my life. But I'm blessed to be here in America, and my family loves America, and we are we're very gracious and grateful for what America has provided. I went on and graduated from the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School, just like President Trump.
Right.
And then Harvard Business School, and built a fabulous business on Wall Street. And now I'm running for Congress.
Where did you go to high school at? Where was your youth? Where did you and what did you like? I'm sure you like sports. We talked about this. Did you play soccer? Are you a football guy? Are you a basketball guy? Just a little bit about to our audience. What was it growing up in your youth?
Well, I was very blessed to grow up in the 1960s and 1970s in a Brooklyn Italian-American neighborhood that
Right.
had a Catholic church
Right.
and a parochial school system, which was a wonderful education, the same education that Rudy Giuliani had.
Right.
And my school was St. Francis de Chantal, and my high school was...
Let me stop you just real quick. If you'll speak up just a little bit, our audience is saying I can't quite hear you, and that's okay though.
Certainly.
But he's got a unique, deep voice. He's just going to bring it out a little bit, bring that passion. I like that.
So I'm very happy that I grew up in an Italian-American neighborhood, and at the center of the Italian neighborhood was a church, and it was St. Francis de Chantal. And across the street from St. Francis de Chantal was the elementary school where I went to school.
Right.
And then we had Catholic high schools, and my Catholic high school was Bishop Ford High School. Very competitive to get to. One of the things I remember was when you have to compete for the school that's closest to you. Everyone wanted to go to that, so that became very important, because you have a bus or train to get there. But there were also some very good schools like and the Bronx text
was
very
right.
famous. So we all competed for those, and it was wonderful. It was a wonderful education. It was a wonderful neighborhood. It was beautiful. I mean, we would go to church every Monday, and we go to the Novena on Tuesday night, the Signs of the Cross on Friday, and we went back on Sunday with our families
Sunday.
with the check in hand for the priest, and the place was packed.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So, what sports did you like? You're a sports guy? I know we talked a little bit. You like soccer? You're a baseball guy?
In high school, I ran track.
You ran track. You got something common with our guy right over here, Mr. Mitchell Gunner.
I think we talked about that.
Right.
So I ran track,
Okay.
and I excelled in that.
Okay.
I ran a sub 2 minute half mile in my freshman year.
Wow.
Which
That's
made
pretty
me-
good.
Which made me the guy to beat, You
Right,
come in,
of course.
This guy's going to run a half something, and bam.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun. And I played a little basketball.
Okay.
But
Good.
I worked a lot.
Okay.
I started with a delivery of the Daily News. And then I got entrepreneurial and I started getting free daily newspapers, giving them out, and then going back and selling everyone, and expanded the road, and it was the first amount of money I ever made. And it was a wonderful business. So I asked them to give me some free papers in addition to the ones I gave out. They did, and I would give them out. Then I'd go back after a week or two of getting free papers. Hey, did you like this? And everyone would say, yes, we loved it.
Well,
So
I
it
was
wasn't
reading.
much time.
I was reading about your background. You sent me a lot of information, and you sent the team some information here, and we read about your background. I really like your educational background. Harvard and places like that, and I can tell speaking with you, you're a very smart individual. But I do want to ask, and of course, the main point, of course, for everybody here is, why does Manuel Ascencio want to run for congressperson, if we can put it that way, because we have a congresswoman or congressman, for District 3? Because we do have Kat Kamek that's filling the seat right now, and there's going to be another candidate as well. I can't think of the gentleman's name right now. Do you remember?
I don't.
Mr. Palmer?
Last name is Waters.
Waters, yeah, Mr. Waters, and you could probably get into that here. But why are you choosing to run and at this particular time?
Well, first of all, I have a view of Congress that one of us should run for some reason that has to do with something he wants to do in that Congress. I mean, we have the 118th coming up,
Right.
and that's for 2 years. There's no reason to think that Kat Kamek should be in the 118th. There was no reason to have her in the 117th, I think, and she cheated and lied, and that's how she got in. And I hate to say that, and I'll back that up if you want.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was a 2-man, 1-woman race, and they decided that they wanted a young woman that they can control. They meaning, the rhinos. So she can't be faithful to them and faithful to us.
Right.
Faithful to us, meaning we're real constitutionalists, we're real conservatives. This is a very serious place.
Right.
We are in the third. We can lead the nation, and we must lead the nation. We must lead the nation. We have to. We believe in the Bible. We believe in the founding fathers. We believe that this is either a blessed nation or the promised land, and that the fathers were enlightened by God. And we believe that the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights are the greatest achievement that man has made. Let's not talk about whether it's science or not, but the first thing is you have to have a civil society, a place where we feel safe and secure, and we're free to speak our minds and think and reason. And the greatest amount of wisdom that I've ever seen is in the third, where you people really believe every day that you have to study the Bible all the way from the Old Testament, the Hebrews, to the time of the New Testament. And it's a beautiful story of how man became more and more wise. And the fathers created us based upon their understanding of that wisdom. They knew what the Greeks had gone to. They knew what the Romans had done.
Right.
And they were all English colonial lawyers. And they knew what had happened with the Magna Carta. And they knew what was going on in France. And they brought it here and made a magnificent document and a beautiful set of rules and laws which need to come back. We've got to govern based upon the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights and the Constitution, but the Bill of Rights protects us under the Constitution. We can't go around not respecting equal protection, due process, and that's how they're getting us. So we have to prosecute the Bill of Rights in order to get ahead of the communist, the socialist, and the Marxist. And that's why I'm running.
Okay, so, and Byron, I know you probably got a question as well that you would go ahead and ask him, because I want to back up something that he said earlier. I want to ask a question about that, but go ahead. And
he was speaking on the founding fathers, and of course he studied this because he was talking about the Magna Carta.
That's right.
They studied people like John Locke and took a lot of their ideas from John Locke,
right,
and Rousseau, and there's 4 or 5 more of them that they talked about. And when you talk about enforcing the Bill of Rights, my question is, can Congress actually do that now?
Well, we can all do it. All we have to do is sue if the judges would be on our side. But we cannot have these violations of separation of powers between the judicial, the executive, and the legislators against us. And that's my gripe with Kat McCannon. And that's why I want to know why she's not in your seat, and we can talk about that. Because if she comes from where we come from, we believe in the separation of powers and the separation of state as an important part of the Constitution.
Sure we do.
And we protect that with the Bill of Rights that gives us the right to sue. And not in front of judges, but in front of a jury.
Sure.
A jury of our peers. In accordance to rules, in accordance to the law. We can't make things up. We can't have judges going around imposing their will, their raw will, and their force on us over the Constitution and over the Bill of Rights.
Absolutely.
They get us by taking away presumption of innocence. Why is there white supremacy? I ask you. Why is that? Why is that? Are you a white supremacist?
No, of course
not.
Are
you a white supremacist?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So, and why do black people own a word that we can't say and they can?
Well,
I mean, how wrong is that?
I have,
and I'd like to know what Kat thinks about that.
I actually have a pretty good answer for that, but it would take 10 minutes to explain. So, so I'm not going to take your time up.
No. Your question was very specific. It's the Bill of Rights that I've got a problem with Kat McCannon on. Because I wrote a law called the Asensio in honor of my daughter, Anti-Judicial Corruption Act of 2023. I'd like it to be the first bill introduced in the new Congress, the 118th. We need to fix what happened in the 2020 election. And what happened in the 2020 election, it could be many things. But one thing we're certain is that the federal judges issued 50 injunctions against the president, the occupant of the office of the American presidency. That's more than one a month, including the one that they took away his right to put the citizenship question on the census, which he had the power to do under the law. That means a statute that was passed by Congress and under the Constitution.
Yeah, it's a clear violation of the separation of powers when they did that.
Right.
It really was.
And just think. So Kat says that she has the endorsement of Trump. Well, why doesn't she talk to Trump about why he didn't use his take care of law power under the Constitution to defend his office for us? And why didn't he impeach Roberts for having gone to the side of the liberals and then have this go to Congress. It should have gone to Congress. So that's the question.
We've sort of talked about this.
Why wouldn't he impeach Roberts and the federal judges on the Supreme Court and have this litigated in Congress, just like the certification of the 2020 election should have been, had it not been for Pence take it into his own hands and make a decision to keep it out of Congress.
Well,
he should have never certified it, and it should have gone to be litigated as we did before. 5 judges, 5 senators, and 5 representatives, and let them hack it out. After all, not one of us sat on the jury in any state, in any district court at all. No, there was no finding of fact in any of the allegations. So there was never any reason to not go to Congress, because there was no legal, legitimate, bona fide process of the allegations, whether they were right or wrong. But we don't have
much power. They think they can just run away and do what they want.
And I think that's what he's trying to say.
Let me pull it back a little bit so we can be very specific. I said in the case of the census question, which came up in January and set the tone for the whole year, we were in an election period.
Right.
There's a bigger concern here. Should we not consider the impact of the 50 illegal injunctions, nationwide injunctions, issued against the President of the United States, 3 of them by a judge that is now sitting on the Supreme Court? So she issued 3 illegal injunctions against us conservatives, and she's on the Supreme Court now, and there was no mention of that. But I'm sorry, I digress. If we stay, we can sit here.
Let's stay on point, guys.
Let's stay on point. The one case with regards to the census was done by Jesse Furman in the Southern District.
Okay.
It was based on an order by him that he wanted to depose Wilbert Ross to determine whether Wilbert Ross was racist or not in putting the citizenship question on. That gets lost. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, and that gets lost. That should be litigated above the courts.
Right. Sure it should.
And President Trump should have done something different than have lawyers in court trying to argue on his behalf. He's the president. This was so important to the spirit of the nation. So many people were hurt emotionally by that.
Sure.
I mean, I've met people that have told me, they were concerned that they weren't asked, why isn't the citizenship question on the census?
Yeah, see, I'm not sure President Trump was getting the best advice from the people that were advising him all the time. I'm not sure he knew he could do that.
Well, President Trump depended on Bill Barr. Look at the book he wrote. Bill Barr, one damn thing after another. Very, very, it isn't decades after the event.
Right.
He wrote it now.
Yeah.
While the president is considering running again in 2024. The advice that was given to Pence by lawyers not to certify and not to do the right thing. Why would he take it on himself to certify? Why would he take it on himself to certify? Could you imagine the level of duress and disturbances and aggravations and agitations in that man's mind to do something so stupid? And today he thinks, he's sleeping well at night. They've still got him feeling that way. So think about Trump in the White House. So vice president they can get like that.
So I want to
certify.
Denim Vipers is what it is.
So I want to go back real quick, because there was something that you said earlier when you was introducing yourself and why you're running against Kat. And I heard it, and I just got something on my feed here. You said that she was lying, and that pretty much, let's just call it that she's lying about what she's representing and what she's all about. Person said, "Can you prove that?"
We have a page on our website.
Okay, very good.
Asensio for Congress, and that
Right.
page is called "Why is Kat Kamen Lying?" And I can go over the lies one at a time if you want here.
I'll tell you briefly, just briefly. I know this could take a while, but just briefly because I want to stay on point because I got some other questions and these guys got some other questions they want to ask you as well.
Well, Kat Kamek says that she grew up on a farm, on a cattle ranch.
Okay.
She did not. She grew up on a 33-acre parcel with no equipment and no barns.
Okay.
And no cattle.
Okay.
She said. So she said that she was homeless.
Okay.
The truth is that and she said that the cattle ranch she lost because of Obama. She blames Obama for having lost her cattle ranch, which
Okay.
didn't exist. All right?
Okay.
And the truth is that her mother used that property as an ATM machine to take out cash, including cash that Kat used to travel around the world in a yacht for $30,000, and they lost it. They were foreclosed upon. So it had nothing to do with Obama. Obama actually gave him the last loan in order to save him, and then they defaulted on that after having borrowed 8 times on the land. So they were clearly over-leveraged. So Obama had nothing to do with her losing. That's an important thing because she says that's her motivation for running for Congress, that she saw how terrible big government could be. But the truth is that big government, liberal, leftist largeness benefited her. She took advantage of it and still defaulted.
And this is all proof on your website. You've got this all documented. People can go back
Let's talk about her relationship with Ted Yahoo. You know, she was fired. She was fired. She worked for the man for 8 years, and the man did not endorse her in the primary. But yet some rhinos gave her money to win. We hear our leader, our legendary leader, a businessman who served us for 8 years, wonderfully, impeccable business career, gave it up for 8 years. He's still a young man. He could still work. He had a wonderful, profitable business. He does not endorse her. He fired her. And she says that she always points to the fact that she was his longtime employee, including claiming that he was the his chief of staff. So that's a lie.
Okay.
That is a big lie.
And again, she's not here
Right.
to defend those. Let me just say, I know you say you got proof, but to us, accusations. What's your accusations? And she's not here. We have reached out to her. We have reached out to her camp. Mitchell has. We all have to try to get her onto the show. I am sure that at some point, ladies and gentlemen, that Kat Kamek will be on here to defend herself of what Manuel is saying and has, as you call it, proof, and some of the things that you've already said, you got proof to back this up of what you said about her.
Yeah.
So she's not here to defend herself. She'll get that chance, of course. So Byron, what you've heard here.
Before we go on,
Okay.
let me make sure we understand each other. There are 6 letters. Each of the letters were given to her chief of staff and other members of her staff and served in her office by hand. We asked her on each of the occasions we delivered to her the 6 letters.
Right.
We gave her enough time to decide whether she had any problems with the language, any changes that she wanted made, or any comments from her staff or herself that she wanted included in the letters. Not a single word came out of her for any one of the 6 letters. Those letters are published as on Why is Kat Running. We have Why is Kat Lying. We have lie number 1, a number sign and number 1, line number 2, line number 3. And there's a brief paragraph that describes the lie.
Okay.
And then there's a link to every page, every letter that corresponds with the lie that was given to her, and we asked her to comment on them before we published them. Then we have all 6 of those letters. We have one PDF with all 6, and it's 12 pages. So we have a 12-page document that you can click on her picture on that page and get the 12 pages. And we have each individual letter with a hyperlink on the paragraph on every lie. Lie 1, lie 2, lie 3, lie 4, lie 5, lie 6, lie 7. Lie 6, I'm sorry. 6 letters, all of them were given to her. If we want to talk about these lies, which I am not prepared to at this time, and I don't have the letters. And
I would rather not until I hear back from her camp, for sure.
There's a very important philosophical issue here. Your audience deserves to have her sitting there and have you determine who's telling the truth. Not necessarily about these lies, but what they mean. What do they mean when someone runs for Congress and totally misrepresents their background, who they are, what they were, and their relationship with Ted Yahoo? That's a very serious thing. But more serious than that is, why is she hiding? Not from this, It's up to the people to determine whether or not they want to condemn her or vote for her or not vote for her or how they feel about that. There are other things that are far more important, what we were talking about earlier. She said that she's a Trump supporter. She says that she has Trump's endorsement. Now let's talk about what happened in the White House during 2020 and ask her why she's not, like me, and talking about what happened with Pence, what happened with, we can talk about what happened in the White House.
Sure.
I know what happened with Bill Barr. I know what happened with Roberts from personal experience. I may not have been in the White House, but I was litigating against him in my case, which is related, very related. Both cases involve actions by the raw will and force, which, by the way, now, if I have one thing that I would love Kat Kamen to discuss, is the use of the 5 conservative judges who overturned in the draft Roe versus Wade. An Alexander Hamilton quote. Did you know that?
Yes, we did. Yep.
And a footnote from a French philosopher in the Federalist Papers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do.
But they did not quote the footnote. The footnote is more devastating for the Supreme Court than the actual words that he used in the Federalist Papers.
Right.
The footnote leads you to a whole paragraph that is devastating for them. That's important for the president to see. The president is concerned about whether or not it's going to be good for him or not good for him that Roe versus Wade was overturned because of his determinations, including putting Amy on. So he's deliberating that. Well, if I was advising the president, I'd have him look at this. It's going back to the states anyway, so we should not have the federal government imposing their will on something that is moral, and that's what they say. But wait, they admit it is an act of raw will and force, and no one's talking about that. No one is talking about that. So we here are talking about it, the 3 of us, the 4 of us, the 5 of us, because we are constitutionalists. So if she says that she's a fighter, how come she's not showing up to fight with me?
That is a state's issue. It always has been a state's issue.
Mm-hmm.
The federal government never should have got involved with it in the first place. And what they're doing, and this is the problem with Roe versus Wade. Everybody is going absolutely nuts, and people are being misinformed. It's not going to end abortion. It is going to limit abortion in some states and maybe end abortion in some states. In other states, it's not.
Right.
So all of this, you're never going to be able to do that again, which I'm completely against myself. But that's people have freedom; they can do what they want. But that is not something that is going to end abortion. That is going to be up to the individual states.
Right.
And that's the whole basis of the court case. Basically, is the federal government overstepped its power by actually deciding Roe versus Wade. Okay.
I want to keep on track, guys, and so far it's going so good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers. I see we got quite a few followers on tonight. The Byron Bagwell sitting to my left. Over here to my immediate left over here, y'all seen him, his pretty face, Mr. Mitchell Gunner. He's he'll have his pretty face on tomorrow night on the Spot Motorsports with David Rodgers. Dave Holland producing the show back here. Say hey, David.
Hello.
How about Mr. Michael Heater with our weather and getting us our breaking news? Say hello, Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Hello, Mike. Oh, jeez.
Here we go.
Say hello, something. Say Alvy.
Hello, Alvin.
Yeah, there you go. And right here we got Manuel Ascencio running for the Congress seat here in the primaries against Kat Kamek and another opponent, which we'll probably have on as well. You bring up, and just I want to ask you. You bring up a good point. We have reached out to Kat Kamek's team. We've reached out to her. We have not gotten a response yet, with the exception of pretty much get back with us, right? In a sort of form. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's asking, where is Kat? I don't know. We have reached out as a media group on the Spot with David Rodgers to have her come on and debate with Manuel Ascencio, if that's what we want to call it. If she wants to come on after Manuel and sit in the seat, we can discuss some of these things that he has brought up. We can do that as well. Or we can have both of you sitting in the seat. Really doesn't matter to me. I think it would be a great...
have a conversation.
I think you should have a
The
conversation.
118th Congress. We're in the
117th now. Yes.
We're going into the 118th.
Right.
We're going to determine what happens in the presidential election of 2024.
Well, it's going to...
What is more serious than to talk about... She says that she's a Trump supporter. She said she's endorsed by Trump. Well, let's talk about the relationship that she has with Trump and how we can help Trump from here in the third with who we are and what we are. That's what I'm about. I'm here because you're a constitutionalist.
Right.
You're a constitutionalist. I'm a constitutionalist. Is Kat a constitutionalist? I don't think so.
But Mitchell, you got any questions for... you got a question for
Well,
Manuel?
I actually was going to talk on, border security and
Great point.
how do you feel about that? We just had a gentleman arrested just the other day that was attempting to get 4 Iraqis in here to go after President George Bush and assassinate him just the other day. And so where do you think we need to go with border security? Do we need to continue on? Would you fight to continue on to get the fence going back up again to help secure our borders? Because I think we're getting into a time frame here where the American citizens are getting fed up with how the government is handling the situation. They're afraid that they're going to lose their jobs. They think that the Democrats are doing it so they can increase their numbers and run the table on Republicans when it comes to running for office, which I think it's going to be a backlash on them because most of these people come from states of communist and that type of government. So more than likely they are going to vote Republican before they would even think about voting Democrat. So it could be a big bamboozle to them when it comes, letting illegals vote. It can actually hurt them than help them. But, either way, I think if you're going to vote in this country, you should be a legal citizen. You should go through all the documentation and the classes to get your citizenship. Now, should we make some changes there as well to the requirements of citizenship? Because it's pretty scary when we have college students graduating college with bachelor's degree and master's, and they can't even tell you not even two of the forefathers.
I will tell you this about your comment. I think we should actually have a mandatory exam to have a voter's ID.
I agree with that. That would be
People
interesting.
are going to scream and yell, that's racist.
No, it's not.
Not at all. Everybody has an opportunity in this country to educate themselves. And what that is that shows that you're educated and you're not going to be taken for a fool for the most part.
Let me give an example of that. Let's take this last election that Mr. Manuel was talking about and you were talking about, Trump versus Biden. Every person that I've talked to opposite of us, why did they vote for Joe Biden? Let me give you the answer, Manuel, that I was given. I hate Trump and I don't like Trump. Really? Okay. So if that's the case, so you don't like, you just see, you think he's a racist, whatever you may think.
People shouldn't be voting.
And that's going to be my exact thing here. So you're telling me you didn't see all the good things that was going on. The economy was boosted. What's something that you're passionate about? Talk about the inflation rate, remember? We haven't even gotten about to that yet. You're talking about the economy boosting. You're talking about gas prices going down. This man was smart. What did he do? When Saudi Arabia says, I'm going to put all that oil on the market, and I'm going to just see what President Trump does in the United States does and see if we can hit him in the backside. What does Trump do? Trump goes, okay, yeah, I know we need to get this wall built, but I'm going to take that money from that wall and I'm going to buy every single bit of that oil that Saudi Arabia put on the market. Guess what? Gas prices went down, stayed steady. Why? Because he made a smart move. He's a smart businessman. But people can't get over his brashness, the way, his history, whatever. People can't get over that. And they voted out of pure dumbness just because they don't like somebody. To me, that is a bullcrap vote. You might as well have taken that vote and thrown it in the Atlantic Ocean because it really meant nothing. You voted and that was, this is 90% of the people I polled, man, said that they voted for Biden because they just didn't like Trump. So you're telling, everything is superficial. You're voting superficially. You're not looking at the facts.
You're not voting for a leader.
You're not voting for a leader. That's exactly right. You're voting for who you want.
You're voting with your emotions, not
your emotions.
He's an emotional guy.
Yes, I am. But obviously,
He's got the Panamanian in him.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait. We went all the way around, and but hold on a second. We are humans. We make decisions based upon emotions, whether we believe it or not. In fact, the only way we can make decisions is the way we feel.
Right.
What makes you make a decision, no matter how rational you want to be, or how reasonable you want to be, is how you feel. How you react to something and how you feel. We like to cultivate ourselves and control our emotions and try not to be as expressive.
Not too many can do that, man.
He's never seen me get going.
He's seen you get going. I know.
But humans make decisions based upon emotions.
Sure.
If you lose your sense of feel, you lose your ability to make decisions.
Right.
And that has been shown medically. It's not just rubbish. It's truth. We all know because we have feelings and we feel good, we feel bad, we feel warm, we feel cold, we feel loved, we feel hated. I feel loved here. I don't feel loved in New York. So let me take this further. Let's take it all the way back to what I would like Kat's answer on.
Okay.
Those people, why were they so angry at Trump? How are we going to evaluate how many people voted for Biden because Trump was called a racist so many times? 50 injunctions against the president in 48 years,
Yeah.
that he's, in
40 years.
48 months.
Yeah.
50 injunctions, 50 nationwide injunctions issued by mere district court judges. There's 2,400 of them. 2,400 of them. And they issued these injunctions against the president to make him look bad, to make him lose the election.
Well,
So these people that have this feeling, and how's Trump feel? He can't, 50 of them.
I keep on.
And then, wait, I'd like to add one thing. So Barr says one damn thing after another. I say on my website, when I talk about Barr, I talk one damn loss after another. Why didn't he write a book? Why did he lose so much? If he was such a big lawyer, how come?
Right.
50-0. The president is 16-0. He vanquished 16, right? Remember we said in the
Right,
middle, he had 8 to his right, 8 to his left.
Left.
What do you think about all these guys? They're all the same. Well, that's what I say about Cat. They're all the same. We're not the same. We're leaders. We can lead this country. We can lead this country. If we win the primary and we knock Cat Kamek out, it will be a shock to the rhinos. And before I get there, because once I win the primary, I'm in. This is a plus 10, plus 15. So we're winning. We're going to win. And then we'll do something real in the 118th. And the first thing we have to look at, these 50 injunctions. Why isn't anyone talking about it? 50 injunctions against the president by mere district court judges. Most of them overturned, but who knows about the overturning? You just hear, President Trump can't govern. The judges have to keep him in line. He wants to be a dictator.
The answer to that,
It's going to take you a while to cultivate that.
Yeah.
But just think about it, and then no one is talking about it. So when we get involved in talking about the nuances of what happened in Arizona or Pennsylvania or Georgia, I've never involved myself with that, because the bigger issue is the separation of powers. Now, how does the separation of powers occur when you have a president whose duty it is to protect us from outlaw judges with the state, with the take care of law? And what is the difference between the president and the U.S. attorney, who is in charge of the office of legal counsel, which provides advice to the president about what, and the office of White House, the White House counsel's office? You've got all of these lawyers. They're all career lawyers. And are they going to tell the president, whoa, this census decision, Mr. President, this is not a matter of law. This is a matter of raw will and force. And you know what? You've got the Army, the Navy, the Secret Service, the CIA, the Federal Marshals. So, what would you like me to tell Roberts, Mr. President?
Yeah, I agree. Michael, I know you've been sitting here and do we have any breaking news, by the way, yet?
No, we're the president has been speaking, but there's
Okay.
nothing new other than that one.
Okay.
I'm scrolling through different media feeds to see if there's anything else coming up. At this point, we've gotten the latest so far, other than some minutia stuff that doesn't require this flow to be interrupted. However, it is getting.
Yeah. So, you have a question for Mr. Manuel? You do, Dave. All right. Dave.
No. What area of public policy are you personally passionate about?
Well, I think the central area that we all need to be passionate about, and we all need to take control of, is what we were talking about. I kid a little bit about the president's powers to execute against the judges, because, in the past we've had that. But federal judiciary policy cannot stay in a small group of senators and congressmen in the House and the Senate. We the people, especially here who are constitutionalists, have to be very aware of the fact that federal judiciary policy is something that is ruling us. We need to understand that federal judges have to be controlled. And we're the ones that have to control them if the president's not going to do it. And there's a law that exists. It's called the Judicial Conduct Act of 1980, and it's fundamentally flawed. In fact, I'd like to tell you a little history about the Judicial Conduct Act of 1980, if I can.
Go ahead.
Okay? It's no coincidence that it happened 7 years after Roe versus Wade. It was an attempt by Jimmy Carter, not to save the White House from Ronald Reagan, he was gone,
Oh, yeah.
but to save either the Senate or the House.
Or both.
Or both.
Yes.
So they signed this Judicial Conduct Act. Even back then, 42 years ago, people were more concerned about the judges than they are now when they should be up in arms. That's why you don't hear anything about the 50 injunctions.
No, I
They
think
were up in arms, and the president tried to appease them, but he made mistakes in the Judicial Conduct Act, and all I did was went back and fixed the mistakes and said to Cat Cammon, look, here are the mistakes, here's what you got to do to fix it. I wrote them, I introduced the bill, let's talk about it. The Asensio Judicial Conduct Act of 1980, and on top of that, I used that bill before they ruled on Roe versus Wade. In April, I filed it at the Judicial Council and said, look, Roe versus Wade is an act of raw will, and you need to treat it as such here at the council, not in the courts. Because I was dealing with them on parental rights, which are a problem.
So what characteristics or principles are most important for an elected official?
I think openness. I think, we said it at the opening, freedom of thought and freedom of speech.
Yeah.
To have a congresswoman, a freshman, that got in by a fluke, 2,000 votes. Because once she won the primary, then, any one of them, all three of them were basically tied. And she only got elected because she was a woman, prejudice, and young, which means she has no wisdom, right? Young people have intelligence and they have knowledge and they have ambition, but it takes time to develop wisdom. You have to have wisdom, and the only way you're going to get wisdom is
experience.
So the most important character, I would say, and the one I bring to the table because I'm a short seller. So as a short seller, I'm out there. I mean, I've shorted Cat Cammon, and that's why I'm here. But when you short a stock, the secretary comes after you, the SEC comes after you, the traders come after you, the president, the board. Nobody likes a short seller. And I have to go into the public record and speak about these things. And I haven't done it once, haven't done it twice, haven't done it 24 times. I've taken down 52 frauds on Wall Street. So, Cat McCammon I deserve a little bit of understanding that I'm frustrated by the fact that I can't. It's like having a stock that you shorted, but it won't come out and trade. I'm worth 100, but no one can buy and sell my stock.
Well, if I may, who do you look up to? Whose example would you like to follow?
Did you have the same questions I had?
I don't know.
That's the same questions I have.
Oh.
Go ahead. We're just trying to throw a little funny at it. We had the same questions, by the way.
Oh, did I just repeat you?
No. I had them written down too.
Oh.
So go ahead. Did you hear what he said
Sorry
there?
about that.
In what area would you like me to?
I think just in general. I think that was just in general. Just in general.
Character.
In what period of time?
Present.
Present now.
Actually, that's a personal.
Sitting, you mean a federal?
I think that's more of
A member of Congress right
you.
now?
No, more of a personal for you, and more
For yourself.
for yourself.
Well, I went to the University of Pennsylvania, so of course I'm partial to Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
He was a very studied man. He was a very God-fearing man, and he helped so much in the convention that gave us the Constitution.
Awesome. Oh.
So of that period, I mean, all the founding fathers were so wonderful. And you know, citizens were wonderful then. George Washington, I mean, they would have dialogues about things that were very deep and very philosophical. You know, when you're deciding whether to vote for someone, you need to hear them think things out in front of you. You need to understand what they care about and what they believe and how they're going to respond. The Congress should not be a place where you go for 10 years. I mean, Ted Yoho was there 8 years. Kat Kamen has done nothing in the 2017 pertaining to the most important thing we should have done. We should be preparing for what we're going to do when we take over the House with regards to what's going to happen in 2024. But no one wants to talk about these things that we're talking about here. The 50 injunctions against the president. How are we going to determine what kind of various analysis are we going to have on the voting to determine how were they impacted? Clearly, those orders were made specifically to influence the presidential election.
And I see where you're going, that we need to straighten that up before this next presidential election so we don't repeat that history again.
Well, actually, we need to straighten it up before this the midterms. Yeah, and Mitchell, you're right on the head. We actually need to straighten that up before the midterms, which is coming right around the corner. That's why you dropped your candidacy in here. So anyway, this has been a great show so far, and I don't mean to cut you short. I know you've got a lot of great points, but I do want to read a couple of comments from some of our viewers here. And by the way, Renee Stegall saw, did you see what she said?
Oh, yeah.
Take down that ponytail, Byron. It's getting a little tight there. We're very passionate of this thing here for sure. If anybody knows Byron, if you know Byron, he's very passionate about this kind of talk. When we talk politics, when we talk about our government. So is Mitchell as well.
He's trying to bring back the Whig Party. He's trying to make it like Whig.
Dave, do you happen to have a picture of Byron?
No.
You don't have a picture of Byron?
No, it's not.
Oh, man.
I've got to stop that.
Well, no, I was going to bring something else. Remember the other one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we won't let. Somebody said you did an awesome job. And then I've got somebody here that says you won't knock out Kat Kamek. Prove that you are for the people. Somebody says, I smell a secret here. And that's just somebody's opinion.
Well, tell us what secret you smell. I'd love to know. I'm an open book.
Right.
I mean, I have already written the law, and this is about judicial.
I guess what he's saying is you and let me.
I don't want to be there for 4 or 5 years. I mean, for 4 or 5 terms or for 2 terms. Let me in for 1 term and see what I do. I come back and report. That's what it's supposed to be about every 2 years.
Of course.
We've got the senators. After 6 years, they're done. They're there as long as they want to. So the president's only there for 8 years.
I guess what this person's trying to say, this viewer's trying to say is, I followed Kat. I know what Kat has done. I guess he doesn't believe or maybe doesn't know what's been going on here. He basically saying, you talk a good game, prove it to the people. In other words, you see what I'm saying? Prove what you're saying.
He says there's something.
He smells
the surface.
That
smell us what it is.
Right.
Because I'd love to know. I mean, we're talking about openness here. I'm saying that cats should be open. We should be speaking about these things fully.
Okay, so maybe this is a little bit of something that you're wanting then. So my man Austin Stevens says, Michael, doing some internal testing, gearing up for hurricane season. Hope this works out. He'll be giving you a lot of information. Perfect. All right. Biden is mad that Kat has been post what's going on in Congress. She's done a great job. Same person.
Well, isn't he going to tell us what's secret?
Well, I don't know. I'm getting to the comments here. So he says that Biden is mad that he knows this, that Kat has been posting what's going on in Congress. She's doing a great job. I've seen
What's going on? What has she posted that Biden is angry about?
So, I mean, I don't know. This is what he said. We don't know. This is the viewer's perception.
We've got a very big problem, okay? The leftists have influenced our government. The leftists have influenced our children. We talked about emotions, how they feel about law, how they feel about the Constitution, how they feel that America is racist. We talked about Bill of Rights. That's where Congress needs to focus. They've got to protect the Constitution, and they've got to protect the Constitution's laws. The Constitution is a philosophical document. When you talk about separation of powers, that's a big deal. Clearly, someone has to be thinking about that. And we here, we constitutionalists, she represents us.
I was waiting on him.
I was waiting to that, yeah.
Knew it was going to turn into a gun control speech. It always does. It's never about the person that did that evil act. It's always about an inanimate object.
Let the viewers know, because they don't see what you see.
So Biden speaking...
Here's a philosophical problem that needs to be discussed openly. Also, what we're doing with racism, radical secularism, hatred of God, hatred of the Bible, hatred of law and order. What is law and order if not what is prescribed in due process?
Right.
Right?
I agree.
What about neutral principles? What about neutral principles to judge? You can only judge in a court of law if you have a codified charge to judge under. So how are they using, what kind of code are they using, and what kind of evidence are they using in order to make all these decisions about gun control?
They're not. They're legislating for the bench is what they're doing.
Exactly.
But, he said, he's asking us, what is the difference between me and my opponent? Mm-hmm. And this is the difference. This is what we must do. This is how America was created. And this is what we do. We prayed before we did this show. Mm-hmm. It is from prayer, from understanding what this country is really about. So if you take away prayer, and you take away the Pledge of Allegiance, both of us, we did this, and you take away freedom of thought and freedom of speech, and you take away the, presumption of innocence, the jury, neutral principles, what do you have left? So what has my opponent done about that? I mean, that's step one. If those things were in order, they wouldn't have gotten away with 50 judges issuing 50 injunctions against the President of the United States. And him not being able to do anything about it. It's like, well, Kat said this lie, and what does it mean? She said a lie, but what does it really mean? The President didn't do anything about it. Barr didn't tell him what to do, and then he writes a book and blames it on the President.
Now let me play devil's advocate here for just a second. I know we need to wrap up the show here. And by the way, thank you for coming on. And I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to look into that camera here in just a second and tell the people in our viewing audience why they should vote for Manuel. But let me play devil's advocate for just a second. All right. You've been talking about the 50 injunctions, and I've heard that several times as we've been doing our interview here. And you were saying about Kat Kemming. What has she done about it? But let me ask this, and I know this only pertains to our district because that's your opponent, right?
Yes.
What has anybody else did about it? And that's my thing. She's only one person. Who else has failed to do the same things that you just said to our viewing audience about those particular injunctions? Now I know because you are running against her, and I know that's your political opponent. Oh, Lord. But she's not the only one. She is...
Is this her defender? Is that his argument?
No. That's not his argument. This is me playing devil's advocate. I want to know who else is not doing their job.
If I was there, would it get done?
If you're there, would it get done? I would hope that you would try to do something about it, but can you do it by yourself?
I'd make a lot of noise.
You'd make some noise,
I'd make some noise. I'd be a leader with new things, new ideas, new concepts, new ideology.
Okay.
She's not doing anything like that.
Okay.
She comes from us. She comes from here.
Right.
That's her duty, to take care of the Constitution. I went to the Judicial Council and I complained about those 50 injunctions.
Right.
And that process needs to be looked at by Congress. Because the judges can't look at it themselves. It's just like the judges looking at, first they throw everything out of the district court, then they throw it out of the appeal court. Nothing was ever looked at, and they want to hold themselves out as being able to look at it at the Supreme Court.
So basically what you're saying is you would get up there and you would rattle the cage, and you don't see the cage being rattled by our particular representative.
Excuse me. She's on the hot seat. She's on the hot spot.
Okay.
I filed the consideration of these violations of law with regards to Trump. She says she's Trump's supporter.
Right.
So why isn't she telling Trump about these things, or why isn't she coming on and telling us why Trump can do it?
How do we know she hasn't? And that's what I'm saying.
Whether she has or she hasn't, it's not public. I'm the source. I filed the injunction. I filed the consideration of the Judicial Council, and I sent it to Kat.
Right.
I introduced the law, and I sent it to Kat.
Right.
And before I ever did that, I told her, hey, let's do this.
Right.
Because it is why I'm running. I'm running on parental rights. We can talk about parental rights, which have to do with freedom of speech and freedom of religion.
Yeah.
We can talk about those, and we can talk about the fact that every man, woman that goes into court and has their child litigated, the custody of their child litigated, has absolutely no constitutional protections because the judges have fabricated the idea that it belongs totally in the state. Sure it does, but due process doesn't. The only way we can get protected is if we go to Congress and say that judge did something wrong. Why would they not eliminate due process in all crimes? If they eliminate due process and equal protection when we talk about our parental rights, doesn't that ring something in your that they're really going after our freedom and our liberty?
Well, hasn't this been going on for years? That's what I was just going to say. It hasn't happened now. It's been going on for years, Manuel, and you know that.
In little pieces.
In pieces. And tidbits.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
well, we know that here. So why isn't my opponent doing something about that if that's all our first concern? We prayed, we said, we talked about the Founding Fathers, and we did the Pledge of Allegiance.
And I'm going to tell you what, I'm not changing that for anybody. I've had people, me and Byron, we've had this conversation before. Well, I'm not going to watch the first 10 minutes of the show. Why? And I said, why? Why are you not going to watch the first 10 minutes of the show? Because I don't like the pledge, I don't like the prayer, and I don't like any patriotic quotes. No problem. You know what I said? Not a problem. I'm not changing anything. That's the way we are. That's who we are. You can come on 10 minutes after the show starts and you can listen into what we got to say. I'm not running anybody off, but nobody's going to tell us, gentlemen here, on how we're going to run our show and what we can do and what we can't do. We all here believe in God. All these people that are on this viewing audience right now, I believes in God as well. They believe in the prayer. They believe in the pledge, and they believe in those patriotic quotes that Byron and all of us give. We're not going to change that, Dave. We already said that. We ain't straying from that. You don't want to watch the first 10 minutes of the show? Okay. Not a problem. Come on at 7:10.
It's a shame they took it all out of school.
And that's what's happening. And we're trying to reinstill it in what we do, at least a portion, at least a small bit. You know, you were talking about tidbits. That's what this show's about. We're trying to do it in increments. You know what I'm saying? If we go and say that we're doing the prayer, the pledge, we're going to keep doing it. We're not going to back off from that. And hopefully somebody down the line that's watching this goes, man, those guys are doing it. Why shouldn't we do it?
Here's a challenge for any politician out there that's in office or running for office. Show me in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights where it says the words separation of church and state. Show me.
Show me, yeah.
It's not there.
Well, it's actually keeping keeping the government out of church, not keeping the church out of government.
Right. Well, yeah. That's right. Right.
But they say there's a separation of church and state, and what it actually says is that Congress shall establish no law to the establishment of the state religion. It doesn't say anything about people in our government, people in schools, worshiping the way they want to worship. Matter of fact, it was encouraged.
All right, guys. Hey, getting ready, time to wrap up the show here. Manuel, I'm going to give you a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Look straight at that camera, speak as loud as you can, and tell the people why they should vote for you. August the 23rd primary, is that right? August the 23rd? 23rd, 2022, coming up in a couple of months. I want you to tell them, unless you had one quick question.
No, I want to say a little bit before we shut show off.
Okay,
just
a couple of
really important.
Well, all right, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and do that real quick.
If you have not seen 2,000 Mules,
Yep.
by Dinesh D'Souza, you need to watch the whole entire hour and 40 minutes of it. The information that they will give you in that show will scare you to death, and it will make you believe what people have been saying about there being election fraud in this last presidential election and the senatorial elections in Georgia and the congressional elections in Georgia. Just watch it, because you cannot dispute GPS evidence. It's really good.
All right, real quick, Manuel. 2 minutes. I'll give you. Look straight in that camera. Talk real loud into that mic, and tell me and tell the viewing audience why they should vote for you in the primaries on August 23rd.
That is a difficult question to answer after what we've gone through here and listening to you, and how some people even here in this district object to prayer and object to talking about patriotic quotes and object to the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm so upset by that, really. I'm here because these things exist here in the Third. And if we want to feel that way, and I love the people of the Third, and I want that feeling of being a patriot and believing in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and believing in the wisdom that is created by a study of the Bible in our children, instead of having our children believe in constructions saying anything about changing your sex, identity. There's no right and wrong. There's no good and bad. It depends on whether you're black or white, rich or poor, or a man or woman, or gay or straight. These things are bad. They're very, very bad. And when you're thinking about those things and you're talking about those things, it's hard to give you a small pitch. I guess the pitch is that we must focus on straightening this mess out. We can't keep putting Band-Aids on everything. We can't be worrying about one thing or another. If it's not baby formula, it's someone bad getting in our country because of problems with security. But let's be higher. The office that I'm running for is a constitutional office. It's the highest office in our community. And what we have to deal with problems on a day-to-day basis, and I'm a manager, Kat is not. I'm a proven successful manager, Kat is not. I've built a big successful business. I took down 52 frauds. But we need to talk about how much, Mitch, did the federal judges contribute to the problem of the southern border? Yes, the president had to do something as an executive, but he did it because the Democrats aligned with the judges with open border policies that were fabricated and enforced in court against the president. Those 50 injunctions were all about open borders. Come on in. Come on in. I had an office across the street from a Lutheran church that was where I saw the leader of the U.S. Congress, the U.S. Court of Appeals. There's 13 of them.
Right.
And the second one is in Manhattan, and the Southern District is right next to it. They actually touch each other downtown. So on our small island of Manhattan, we've got 1 million square feet in one.
Oh yeah,
and
you do.
Another 1 million square feet, another 2 million square feet of judges and lawyers.
Nice corner bars there, by the way, in Manhattan. But
Yeah,
anyway, we'll
like
talk
that.
about that later. I love those.
So the man that ran that Court of Appeals took it upon himself to use our tax dollars to persuade young law school graduates that didn't get jobs as clerks to come in and learn how to defend illegal immigrants on our dollars. And then they went out, and their whole lives were that. They were influenced by this man, Robert Allen Katzman, on our salary, who's not supposed to be acting against the law, but he's actually training judges, lawyers, to go out and litigate on behalf of illegal immigrants. So you talk about defense. Yes, defense, Trump had to do something. But no one gave him the idea that, hey, what you need to do is take care of judicial misconduct pertaining to illegal immigration. So once the judges were in cahoots with the Democrats in the House, he couldn't fix the law,
No.
Right.
and that was it for him.
So quick 30 seconds. Again, and you brought
That's
us a
type of
great
thinking
point.
is exactly what we have to do. We have to be.
And you're
can't
the
be
guy.
going around. She all she cares about is donations. Let's face it, donations. I'm about talking to the people about what we should do. We can all discern the truth. There's nothing secret about any of this. We have to care about it, think about it. The founding revolution, the founding generation, they all did this, and we need to go back. And we could be a founding generation here in the third. And I'm asking the incumbent, my opponent, let's talk at that level. Let's talk about your lying. Let's get that done. And then let's talk, well, let's do both, or let's not do that. I'll negotiate anything, but let's talk. Let's reason. Let's speak. Let's be honest. Honesty starts with presence, openness, dialogue.
All right, thank you, Manuel. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Manuel Ascencio running against Kat Kamick in the primaries here on August the 23rd here in District 3. Michael, I want you to give a quick weather report, and I would just want to read a few of these comments while you're pulling that up. Do you have it already ready, or do you need a minute?
I'm already ready.
You all ready? Go ahead, and then I'll read a few of these comments if you're ready.
All right. So real quick, folks, just so you know, the temperatures are going to top out in the upper 80s, the lower 90s as we head through the rest of this week. I got a slight chance of rain moving in starting Thursday, isolated showers with a front moving in on Friday. Friday temperatures are going to drop off a little bit. Saturday's looking really good, I have to say. It's going to get drier as we head our way through the 3-day Memorial Day weekend. Be safe as you're going to be out. Temperatures are going to be on the rise again. For those of you dealing with the pollen issues like that, yes, the numbers are a little bit misleading because the dust from the Sahara Desert blowing across the Atlantic is what's giving us a lot of allergy problems. Expect that to clear out with the frontal boundary moving in, but I don't think that you're going to have a major impact with that. Expect an isolated chance of showers. No severe weather anticipated for the next 72 to 96 hours. Basically, get out, enjoy the rest of the week, and make sure you remember what Memorial Day is for as we head into the weekend. David?
All right. Thank you very much, Michael, for that. Again, I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. Y'all been a very great audience, very great viewing audience. I just want to read. I don't want you to answer. I just want you to hear, and you'll go back and watch the show as well. I just want to read a couple of the comments that were there because that is what drives our show, Dave, is comments.
Yes.
So I had a person say anyone can talk the talk. Absolutely. I think he'll buy that too. Anyone can talk the talk. Then I had another person said, if we've got all this, why not start the impeachment process? Don't want an answer just yet. So Poll parties have influenced the government in one way, or both parties have influenced the government one way or another. A politician. Well, we've talked about that. You were saying, hey, I'm not a politician. But today you are really. You are a politician. You're politicking to get these people's vote on your knowledge, your experience, what you think is not happening or happening with this particular with Kamek. Let's call it a spade. And you brought your points out, so I agree. Somebody says, I like this guy, but I want to know what he will do about inflation. We've talked about this. We didn't even get a chance.
Big point. Wonderful point.
We didn't get a chance to do this.
Maybe very quickly.
Well, we'll wait for another time. Emotions have no place in government. Also, something for you to think about is education. I have a lady that's very near and dear to our hearts. Says, what are you going to do about education? So, inflation, education. Both sides of the political parties in America have been damaging the government body. A politician always makes his or her money. The only people that actually do stuff for Americans or protect Americans are the people that serve this country. It's talking about, of course, our great U.S. Armed Forces. That goes all the way down to emergency operation centers within local governments. Any patriot that I actually do agree with, his name is Cody Johnson. You don't want to know where that came from. Mm-mm. Sex choice for very young children, and she's got a question mark. Sex choice for very young children. Write that down with a question mark. You can answer that another time. I'm being hopeful here. I like what you're saying, but I'm watching people that want to be elected. They make a lot of noise, but talking is one thing. Action speaks louder than words. And I agree with that, but he can't do anything until he's voted in. So you have to feel like he's the candidate, and you got to vote him in before there's any action.
One term.
So, and he's saying one term.
I'll come back. Let's see what I do.
They won't look at it. So where is the true fight? It's working though. Show us some progress. Let me see. God, country, and family. He agreed with what you just said there. God, country, and family for sure. At graduation, they did the prayer and the pledge and the national anthem. Amen. They did it everywhere, as far as I know. Here. They did it at Bradford, and I think they did it at Keystone.
They did it
so, too. Amen. In the morning, there was a moment of silence, which means for Christians, they can pray in class. We don't need Congress anymore.
Oh, bull.
Oh, no, I'm going to disagree. No,
we need the original intent of Congress.
Yes.
Is what we need.
Go back to the, I want to just say one thing about hyperinflation. Whose money is it? There's a big one. Where is my opponent with regards to this idea?
We'll find out.
They're not only printing money and doing a deficit, but they're manipulating the inflation, manipulating the interest rates at the bank, so you can't get anything at the bank, and inflation is running at 20% per year. Inflation is running at 20%. They say it's 9%. They use the lower number to tell us we're still growing when they adjust the GMP. But if you adjusted the GMP by 20, you'd be down 20%.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, and you're exactly right. That's got to hit a point on the head. That's how you're right.
Where's the opponent? Let's have it right here.
So,
hold it. What is it? Why can't we go into court and sue? Stop the nonsense. Balance your budget. I balance my budget. We all have to balance our budgets.
And to begin
so
with,
how come you can't balance your budget?
All right, let's move on. Let's
get rid of the unconstitutional Federal Reserve.
All right, let's move on. We can govern ourselves. You guys are getting too rich off our backs. It's talking about politicians and Congress, period. So I'm going to leave that right there.
We can't either.
Yeah. Some people agree with him. Some people agree with him. Said, "Yep, nailed it." Several people are agreeing with him, and we know who that is. And I'm not going to call no names out. He says we love prayer. Folks are distracted by the crisis du jour and need to stick to the moral fundamentals. Lay the Bible on the house table and say, "In the name of Jesus, we the people rebuke you, and I will vote for you." I've noticed since she got in the office, she's gotten more like a politician. This is coming from one of our viewers. I've been using this broadcast to test equipment. Okay. The 10, you're right. So this particular person said. So just some finishing comments. Again, it's been a great show. We went for a couple hours. Wow, it's hard to believe when you got a candidate on and he's trying to get all his points and his views out. Whether it's him and her, whoever it is, you need time to do this. And I want to thank you guys for paying attention and listening to us and keeping up with us. I know it's getting late for several people that's got to get up and go to work in the morning. Manuel, I want to thank you for coming on, and I appreciate you very much.
Take this picture.
Take that picture.
Thank you so much, sir.
So,
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Byron Bagwell, again, Mr. Mitchell Gunner here with us as well. Mr. Michael Heater directing, Mr. Dave Holland producing. Tomorrow night, don't forget, On the Spot Motorsports with David Rodgers.
That's right.
Mitchell Gunner host, special guest. Look at what he's got going on. I want you to look at his studio. That's what I want you to focus at. Man, he has got every car, every shirt that I can possibly think of, and I know he's going to tell me no, that you can see. It's really a beautiful setting.
This is.
Oh, man, and he's got all kinds of things there. You've seen it. It's really gorgeous. And he will be having a special guest on. Don't forget, we've got the football game Friday night.
That's correct.
We'll be putting that out on the post, which broadcast either the regular show or the on the.
Well, the good thing is if we do it live stream, I can include somebody on the field and get them in with their telephone where they can interview.
And that's where, if he's not busy until Byron and come up with us and Dave as well, I would love that. But Dave, you gonna do some camera work for us up there too on Friday night? Can you?
See what I can do.
All right, and hopefully you can be.
See what we can do.
If not, I guess Dave can be the on-field reporter. He can go talk to the coach. Dress up, man. Let your hair flow, man. That would be great on the football field. Just let that hair flow, man. Coach Rodgers, man, what do you think about Manny Covey?
I can hear it. Who let that old man on?
Let the old man on the. Oh, by the way, Dave, you still got some eligibility. Suit up. You're in at tailback.
Yeah.
On behalf of Mr. Byron Bagwell, Mr. Mitchell Gunner, Mr. Dave Holland, Mr. Michael Heater, our guest, Manuel Ascencio. I'm David Rodgers. God bless you guys. Hope you have a great night and a great week. We'll see you Friday night at the football game. But until then, the motorsport baby. Oh, yeah, yes. Definitely look at here. We got some pictures here coming across the screen right there. This is for the event that happened yesterday for our staff sergeant. Yeah, so as you can see, look at that beautiful flag there. The only thing that was